Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, Immortal Hulk, issue number 34. Again, not showing face, little sick, deal with it. Okay, The Apotheosis of Samuel Stearns, written by Al Ewing. Butch Juice is the guest penciler, Tom Palmer, guest inker, Paul Mounts is the typical colorist, and VC's Corey Petit on letters. Alex Ross doing the cover, and Hyuk Lee doing that beautiful variant cover. Wow. Anyway, this was a fantastic comic book. Also, Hulk created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. So, yes, different pencils and inks, which should change the outlook of the entire comic, right? And yet that familiarity of those colors of Paul Mounts are still here. I just want to go over the art really quick. There's a lot to cover in this art. Why? Because all of this is basically the leader's story up until now, but told through the eyes, through the mouth, basically, of Al Ewing. So all these different versions of the leader that we've seen before, all these different writers doing these different stories with the leader, but now we've got a brand new story out. Al Ewing is about to tell a new story. So, of course, he has to model everything that the leader has done according to his own take, because of what he's going to do with the leader going forward. There's got to be his version of an explanation of why all of these things happened. I'm down with that. One, it shows that you've read the previous material. Two, this book is one of those. This is something that Ewing does a lot with this book, at least with the Immortal Hulk book. He knows, and we know, what is going on in the Hulk stories ever since his creation back in the 60s, right? Here's the thing. Do we necessarily understand each other's take on the Hulk? No, because we all have our own headcanon. We always have our own life experiences to draw upon how we're going to view a character. What does the Hulk mean to you as opposed to what does the Hulk mean to me? What's your favorite version of the Hulk? What's my favorite version of the Hulk? Why? Right? Why are these our favorite versions of the Hulk? What's Al Ewing's favorite version of the Hulk? Well, he actually gets to tell us his favorite version. It's this one, I would hope, I would imagine. It's quickly becoming one of mine also. So getting these kinds of stories where it seems like, oh, it's just an interlude. Yeah, it kind of is. It's also a little bit more than that. Now, the last major interlude that we had was actually issue number 25. That's right. The issue that so many people love to hate. I remember saying I didn't hate the issue. It was very different from all the other issues, but it is evident that we are going to see more of this in the future. Guess what? The future is now. So if you go back and you reread, as I did, I went back and I reread issue number 25 because I knew it was going to be important, because they showed that little symbol, which is actually one of those like Parksol, whatever they were, thing with the percent in the name from the far distant future, where the that version of the World Breaker is the breaker of all things. Yeah, that version of the Hulk that's seemingly possessed by the one below all. There was that little thing put inside of the Hulk, well, the breaker, and sent back in time through him, through it. And it was not an organic thing, it was a created thing. So it wasn't birthed, this little fly thing. It wasn't birthed. It was created by this leader who gave to the Parksol, whatever, that smaller thing, the lesser in stature thing, in status, and said, here, go back as far as you can. Put everything you can into it and put it back as far as you can, meaning all the information you have of right now, put it into this thing, this little fly, and then send it through the Hulk, whatever, this world breaker of all things, and send it back in time as far as you possibly can, which is today's version of the Hulk. Now, the Hulk didn't actually get a hold of this thing. One of the times that he was completely shredded and ripped apart is one of those times when what's his face? The leader, in the guise of Rick Jones, was over top of him. He said, "Oh, what's this?" This is the third time that we're seeing the leader in the Immortal Hulk comics. I really enjoyed the hot take on the different time periods of the leader all throughout this, particularly in Peter David's run, who until this day I still think has the best run on the Hulk. Peter David has just done so much with the Hulk, but Ewing is quickly coming up and taking that role over. But we're also only 34 issues in, right? So I mean, how far are we really going to go? Anyway, this is just one of the stories where I'm going to highly recommend you go back and read issue number 25 again, because it helped me understand better what's to come, and that only fills me with more anticipation for what's to come. All I could do from this point on is praise what I'm seeing in this book. This is fantastic writing. The art is out of this world. I love the choices that Ewing is making. It's got to be him saying, hey, I'd like Butch Juice, or somebody else, but, like, let's just say, he asked for Butch Juice and Tom Palmer to jump on this book. I need you to write this book because I need this book to feel different. But I also still want Paul Mounts to be on this book coloring it, because I still want it to feel familiar as well. I want to move the reader. I want to kind of put the reader off balance. And I mention this specifically because I know, like, when you're training dogs, a lot of people, I've said this, I think once before on a podcast, a lot of people think that you could pull on a dog's leash or yell at a dog to get it to do what you want. No, you can't, because dogs are built in a certain way. You pull on its leash, it's just going to make it more, antsy to go forward. What you do instead is you put it off balance. A very simple, stand behind it where its hindquarters are, just a little nudge with your knee. The slightest sideways nudge to bring the dog off balance. It's got to re-get its balance, and then all of a sudden it's thinking about regaining its balance as opposed to, barking again. And that's pretty much what's being done to all of us. Through the art, through the story itself, it feels like it's a completely different story, and yet all it's doing is bringing us off balance. But we still know the person who's doing it. We know the person who's bringing us off balance. It's reminded by the writing. It's reminded by the colors. There's so much to dissect in this book, and I love being here. Like, this is my case study. And I've just got all the time in the world, once a month or so, to be able to sit back and just say, yeah, tell me about your mother. And realistically, this is more about me asking Bruce about his father. So definitely read this book. Definitely sit down and enjoy this book. And after you're finished reading this book, go back and read issue 24, then come back and read this book one more time. That's right. Get the most for your money, the most bang for your buck. Get that, because it's worth it to really get down to the nitty-gritty of this story. Love it. Which were the other two books that the leader was in? One of them was the end, whatever. There were two other stories with him in it, all right? One was issue 25. The other one was the previous issue, I believe. If there were more, let me know. If there weren't, let me know. Anyway, love this. Definitely get these. Definitely read these, and I'm out. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.